In this video, I want to talk about conditional formatting in Excel. How can we highlight cells and also how to highlight an entire row whenever a criteria is met. And we can apply a conditional formatting in Excel using numbers, texts, and a combination of multiple criteria. So this is what we're going to see in today's video. So let's dive into it. In this first example, I need to highlight the cells that are greater than my target value that is in this pinkish cell. And I need to apply this highlight to all the cells that I have underneath the total column. I can do it manually, check all the cells individually. Maybe this one I need to highlight, and also this one, and this one right here, and on and on. But if I do it manually, maybe it can take a long time to complete this task. So I think a better way to automatically set this conditional formatting to automatically highlight the cells whenever the cell matches with my target, the cell is going to be automatically highlighted for me. First of all, we start with the conditional formatting. We need to select all the cells where we want to apply this highlight. Okay, like this. And then I can go to the Home tab. Here to the right, there is the tool that we're going to use, conditional formatting. Within the conditional formatting tool, there is a lot of options to use, such as highlight cells rules, top-bottom rules, data bars, color scales, icon sets, and we can also have new rule to create our own customized function or formula within that conditional formatting. But let's keep with the first option, highlight cells rules. And here we have greater than, less than, between, equal to, text that contains, and on and on. I want to keep up with the first option, greater than. And I want to highlight all the values that are greater than $50,000. But instead of manually set this number within this bar, 50,000, because I don't want to manually set a number. Let's say in the future, tomorrow, next week, or whatever, I just need to change this target right here. I'm going to need to open the conditional formatting to manually change the number too. So I don't want to do it. I want to dynamically set this number. Whenever I change the target, the conditional formatting also changes for me. So what I can do is, instead of manually set the number, let me select everything and get rid of what I did and choose here the cell that I need to use, like this, cell H1. And I want to apply a red color or a yellow color or a green color. You can choose the color that you like to use in the conditional formatting, or you can also click here and go to custom format to customize your own color scale, let's say. Maybe I can use as the font a bold and a red color, and as the fill, I can use a greenish color. And then okay again, and yeah, that's it. Now, all the numbers that are above my target are going to be automatically highlighted for me. And whenever I update this data set, so let's say this 29,000, I want to change to 100,000. I'm going to hit enter, and look what's going to happen to this number right here. Enter. Now this number also changes the format because now the number matches with our criteria. So this is basically how we can start using the conditional formatting in Excel with a certain criteria. The first example is done. Another example that we can see where instead of highlight single cells, I want to highlight the entire row whenever the criteria above is met. So as we can see, I basically have the same data set as before, but this time, instead of taking individually cells to be highlighted, I want to highlight the entire row. And how can I do it? First of all, we need to select the entire range that we want to use, where we want to apply to the conditional formatting. Okay, the entire range. Now I can go to the Home tab, conditional formatting again, and whenever you want to apply the conditional formatting to more than one single cell, I mean, for the entire row, for example, you need to set your own rule. So you need to customize the formula. And this is what we're going to do, new rule. With this new box, new formatting rule, we can go to the last option, use a formula to determine which cells to format. And within this one, I can start with equal sign and select the first cell that I have in the total. And whenever this cell is, let's say, greater than the criteria that I have, I want to highlight the cell and the cell underneath and underneath and on, all those cells. So as the logical operator here, I want to use greater than, but you also have greater than, less than, or equal to. The one that I'm using is the first one, greater than. Greater than the target, I want to highlight all the cells. But something that we need to be mindful here is with the dollar signs that we have before the column and also before the row. As we can see, I have the dollar sign both for the first cell, that is the total, and also the dollar sign for my criteria. In the criteria cell, I actually need to use the dollar sign to lock the movement of this cell, to lock this reference in the same place, because even though I want to highlight all the rows of this entire data set, all the rows I want to consider the same criteria, the same cell. So this cell right here needs to be locked, fixed in the same position. However, the cells that I'm using for the data set don't need to always be fixed in this first cell right here. No, it needs to be moved out to the second cell and then to the third one, to the fourth one, and on and on. So this is why I'm going here to the first cell that I selected, and I want to get rid of the second dollar sign immediately before the number 2, that stands for that row, okay? Because I want to apply the conditional formatting for all the rows, the second, the third, the fourth, and on and on. Now let me go to the format, and I want to highlight the cells with a yellowish background, and maybe I can also use here a font color such as bold with a bluish color, okay? And okay again. Now, all the rows that match with my criteria are going to be automatically highlighted with the color that I set it before. Let me change here the criteria. So this is why it's important to use a dynamically range. Now, instead of using 35,000, maybe I can change to $40,000. Let me hit enter. And as we can see, now a couple of different rows are not being highlighted anymore. If I change to maybe $50,000, enter, we can see now we also change the highlight of the rows. And if I maybe use a larger number such as $9,000, none of those rows are going to be highlighted because, of course, there is no such value here in the total column. Let me go back to maybe 60, enter. Okay, here we have. So this is how we can use, again, the conditional formatting in Excel. However, this time using our own customized formula. The third example that I want to show here is how to highlight cells based on a text. So let's say whenever I choose a new department, maybe sales, all the cells that match with this text that I inputted here are going to be automatically highlighted for me. The way that I can do it is, again, select the entire range where I want to apply this conditional formatting, and then go to the Home tab, Conditional Formatting, and I can stick with the first option, Highlight Cells Rules, that are equal to. Whenever the cells to the left are equal to sales, and I can again manually input the word that I need, sales, and as we can clearly see right now, all the cells that match with my criteria are already being highlighted for me. However, I want to do it dynamically, so let me click over this yellowish cell. Let me get rid of everything, and then again select the cell. Okay, I want to apply a yellowish highlight, and then okay. Now it's working. And whenever a new cell are added here or update with the name that I'm looking for or the conditional formatting is looking for to match the criteria, enter, it's going to be automatically highlighted for us. Let me change the department to maintenance, for example, and let's see what's going to happen here. Now all the cells that match with our criteria are going to be automatically highlighted. Another way that we can highlight those cells that match with our criteria is using the highlight for the entire row. So we don't need to always keep up with a single cell, but we can also apply to the entire row. First of all, let me get rid of this conditional formatting, clear rule, and then clear rule from entire sheet. Okay, now everything is like it was before. Let me select all the data set that I have because I want to apply the conditional formatting to this entire data set, to all the entire row. And then I can go again to the Home tab, Conditional Formatting, and as I explained it before, we need to create a new rule because we want to highlight the entire row. Let me keep up with the last option again, use a formula to determine which cells to format, and within this formula bar, equal sign, whenever the department that I have that is starting in this cell right here, and be mindful to get rid of the second dollar sign immediately before the column, because for the same reasons that I explained it before. Whenever this cell is equal to this cell or all the other cells are equal to my criteria that is in this cell right here, I want to highlight them with maybe a yellowish color. And then I can click OK, OK again, and yeah, it's working. Let me change here because the way we can properly check if it's working. Maintenance to sales or purchasing. Okay, yeah, it's working. Sales and on. Everything is working. So this is how we can do it instead of using a single cell, highlight the entire row. The fourth example that we have now, I want to show different ways to use the conditional formatting in Excel, but this time using the data bars, color scales, and also the icon sets. I have basically the same data set, reviews received for delivery time, customer service, and also product quality. Let's say, because I have all the months of the year from January to December, and all the ratings for all the months, I want to highlight these ratings to be easy to see what is the largest value and what is the smallest one. I can simply select everything where I want to apply the conditional formatting and go to the Home tab, Conditional Formatting, and then here I can go to maybe Data Bars and choose a option. All those options work the same. However, the color, the design is different. Let me keep up with maybe this one right here, this purple data bar. Okay, now I can see that the largest value, that is 10, has this complete bar filling the complete cell. And when I have a smaller number such as 4, the bar is smaller. If I change a rating, instead of using 10, maybe I can use here 50. I'm going to press enter and look what's going to happen with all those bars within the cells. All those bars are going to be automatically adjusted to match with the largest value to be in the same proportions. Now let me undo the action. And that way we have again the values as we had before. Now let's move on to another example that again, now I have customer service instead of delivery time. But anyway, I have again values and I need to highlight those reviews. So I can select everything and go to the Home tab, Conditional Formatting, and this time instead of using data bars, I can use color scales. Those scales that I have are going from a color to another color. Maybe the first one we can use is the most common one, that we have the green color to the highest value, the red color to the lowest one, and the middle point, the value in the middle is going to be orange or yellow or light green, and on. We also have different styles of scales right here with green and yellow, with scales of red, scales of only green, blue and red, and on. I want to keep up with the first option. And this is the result that we're going to have. The lowest value is going to be red. The values in between are going to be yellow or this light green, and the highest values are going to be in this greenish color. So this is how it works, the color scale. It's very easy to use, and it's also very important because that way we can see at a glance what is the largest values and also what are the smallest ones. Now I have some product quality reviews, and again, I can select all those reviews and go to the Home tab, Conditional Formatting, and here I can use some icon sets. As we can see, there's a lot of different icons to use. Green, yellow, and red. There is maybe the ones that has 4 different criteria. We also have here indicators, shapes, ratings, and on. For this one, I can use maybe, I think those little stars here are going to be very good for this example. When we have a lower rate, such as 4, the star is empty. When we have such as a larger rate, 9, we have the full star, and then we have a value in between, 7, 8, 6, and on. We're going to have half star. So this is how we can use the icon sets within the conditional formatting to help us better visualize the data. Another example that we can use is highlight the row according to the criteria, but we have 3 different criteria: good, average, and poor. How can we do it? Because we already know at this point how to highlight cells individually and also how to highlight the entire row using a single criteria. But here we have 3 different criteria: good, average, and poor. First of all, again, always the first step is to select the range where you need to apply the conditional formatting. And then you can go to the Home tab, conditional formatting, and be mindful because this time we're gonna need to highlight the entire row. So knowing that, we can go to new rule to customize our own formula. Let's go to the last option, and then the values that I want to apply here are the formula equal sign. I want to use the values in the total column to match with the criteria. So whenever the first value that I have and all the other values are greater than $45,000, I want to highlight all this entire row with the green color. Let me get rid of the dollar sign, and whenever this value and all the other values are greater than or equal to, because it can be the number itself, greater than or equal to $45,000, format with a green color. Okay, and okay. Now, as we can see, it's already working. If I change here a number in the total, 17 to 7,000, enter. As we can see, the row are going to be automatically highlighted for us. Now let me select everything again, or something that you can do if your Excel version allow you to do so. You don't need to select everything, and then you can go again to the conditional formatting and then manage rules, because here you can see everything that you already did. And as we can see, the rule that I created before is showing here for me. What I can do is I can select this rule and then duplicate rule. And now, to save a lot of time, I can just change the details, such as the criteria and also the color. To select. Now I want to apply here the second criteria or the third one. Let's say everything that is below 25,000, I want to highlight with a red color. So let me change the logical operators to less than 25,000. Okay, I want to format with a reddish color, or I can actually use this orange one. Okay, and okay again, apply. Okay, yeah, we're done. So it's working. The last criteria that we can apply here, click over the data set, is for the values in between. Manage row, or let me do something different here. Let's go to the conditional formatting, new rule, and as we can see, I did not select the range where I want to apply the conditional formatting. But I think it's a good idea because I want to show you how can you set the range if you did not select it earlier. So let me go to, again, use a formula to the term. And within this bar, I want to use the total that I have. Be mindful to get rid of the second dollar sign. Whenever the value is now greater than or equal to 25, that is the start point of the average criteria, I want to highlight all those rows with a yellowish color. Then okay. As we can clearly see, nothing happens here because we did not set properly the range. So I can go again to conditional formatting, manage rules, to see all the rules that I have. And here we can see three portions of the conditional formatting. The rule itself, the formula, the format, the color, the design, and also the range applies to. And this is the arrow with the yellowish criteria. We need to set properly the range. As we can see here, to the next two rules, we can copy this range here to be used in the first one because it's the same, right? So I can basically go here, right click and copy, or what I can do is get rid of everything that I did, click this up arrow, and then select now the range that I need to use. Then I can go here, click OK, and yeah, now I think it's working or not, because we can see two criteria, the reddish one and the yellowish one. And what about the green one? If we go again to conditional formatting, manage rules, let me change current selection to this worksheet. I can see all the three rules that we did before, the formula, the format, and also the range. But something that is wrong here is with the position of those conditional formatting. The green one we can't see here in the data set because the yellowish one is overlapping the green one. So this is why we can't see the green. However, let me take here the green and click, and then go here to this arrow to move the green up like this. And if I apply this new setting, now we can see the greenish color appear here in the data set. And this is how we can do it. So maybe if you have many different criteria to apply in the same data set to be used as a conditional formatting, sometimes one conditional formatting is going to overlapping another one. So this is how we can properly set those conditions. And if you want to learn more about conditional formatting in Excel, there is a playlist here in the channel about this subject with many different practical problems and examples. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or any suggestions to the next videos, let me know, comment down below, and I see you tomorrow. As every day has a new video, I see you there.